Hello and welcome to the Dinosaw for week 28, another 7 curious, interesting things I saw last week. So as ever, let's crack on. First one is a bike wash, or it's a car wash for a bike, essentially. It's the same thing. So if you have a dirty bike, maybe it's a mountain bike, gravel bike, you stick it in this thing, you turn it on, it swishes around and it cleans your bike. It takes the oil out of the water and all the gritty stuff, it filters it out, so therefore it reuses the same water. It's got some good eco credentials. No idea how much this costs, but it is from Germany. So if you want one of these things, then follow the link below, and there you go. Kind of neat, kind of interesting. This is self-cooling artificial turf. Now, why would you need this? This is actually based on this was prompted from me reading a FIFA report that said that in certain parts of the world, they are now mandating that you need to take a break during a match to take on water so that the people playing the game obviously don't suffer from any sort of heat exhaustion. So in certain parts of the world, it's too hot to play a game. That has another issue, which is it's too hot to basically have grass pitches because you can't grow the grass anymore because there's not enough water. So this is causing issues, and therefore this is solving some of those problems. This is Permavoid, and this is out of the Netherlands. And what they're doing is they're using artificial turf with a void underneath it. The void captures any rainwater that there might be, stores it underneath, and when you then start playing on the artificial turf, it then wicks up the water into the surface and starts cooling down the surface so that it is demonstrably cooler. It's 8 degrees centigrade cooler playing on this artificial turf than it is playing on non-voided turf, shall we say. And it's about the same as playing on grass. But obviously, if you're in a hot place, you can't play on grass. So that's a good thing. It has a couple of benefits. It's cooler. It allows you to play sports because you can now use artificial turf, and it stores water. So there you go. Very interesting. I like that a lot. Two stories going on here. One is, this is my first ever phone on screen right here. It's an Ericsson 388, and I converted it recently to run on newfangled LiPo batteries. That's not really the story, but I just thought I'd mention it. Second one is actually the real story, which is the people at Eton, which is essentially a private school in the UK. Costs you probably a couple of £100 to put your children through it. It's quite expensive. However, they've just announced they're not allowing next year students, so September intake students, to use smartphones. You can bring your SIM card along with your number on it. So if you want to contact people, it's all on there, but it has to be inserted into a brick phone or a dumb phone, whatever you want to call these things. So there you go. Why? Obviously, it will probably be good for mental health, but also concentration. They are allowed iPads to do their work on, but certainly no smartphones. And this actually follows on from California and New York and lots of places who are starting to mandate no phones in schools, which I think is really good. The revolution is beginning. This is Savor, really interesting company, and they are making fat. Doesn't sound that innovative, but fat turns out is very important. So yeah, obviously there's a couple of things here. So this is animal-free fat, so it does not need any animals to create this, and therefore all of the sort of supply chain of environmental damage that it might cause. And also, things like margarine might use palm oil and therefore also environmental damage. So this skips all of that just by creating fat directly from air and water. So CO2 mixed with hydrogen creates hydrocarbons. You then heat it up, oxidize it, and it creates fat. So starting out with butter, why not, pure fat, and then going to move into milk, cheese, and artificial meat to add that sort of special sort of whatever it is to meat, artificial meat with fat in it. So quite interesting. That's Savor. Assume you can get it right now. So click on the link below and get yours. I'm always interested in interesting ways of regenerating energy. Don't know why, it's just a thing I'm interested in. And this caught my eye. So this is some new research, I think based on the fact that Europe basically each year uses the same or generates the same amount of heat from its electronics, so TVs, servers, mobiles, whatever, computers, as Austria needs as well. So basically, it's a bonkers amount of energy. This new substance, this new essentially alloy has been created, silicon substrate with germanium and tin. And what that does is you build it straight into the actual processor chip itself. The heat of the processor then generates electricity using this compound thing. And therefore that electricity goes back into the chip, which means you lose less heat, but also it also means you need less fans, and you can then use more processor time because you're using the energy recycled. So I can see this in the future a little bit like Intel Inside. You've got your little sticker on your laptop or your TV or whatever. This is probably going to say this is a regen CPU or whatever. So I like that. I like where that's going. It solves a problem for now. Let's see where that goes in the future. This is a really dull slide, but it's a really interesting study. So this is essentially, are you more innovative if you use an AI? This whole co-piloting thing, and basically some stats that say yes, you are. So it uses some genuine science. It uses the diversion association task, which basically says how novel are you as a writer. The more novel you are as a writer, the longer it takes really the benefit of AI to catch up. But for normal people, these are the two graphs at the very top right. For normal people with a lower DAT score, then using AI is always going to give you a more novel and a more useful story as a writer. So there's two things that are sort of interesting here is, as a writer, you're probably better off using AI. You're probably better off asking it for 5 examples of ideas to improve your stories rather than 1, because it is, again, that's basically saying that if you use more suggestions from an AI, you get a more novel, more useful story. But the thing is, the more people that use it, all of the writers start writing the same sorts of things. So individually, you're more creative, but as a group of writers, you're less probably novel. So that's kind of interesting. Again, the study is obviously a little bit more eloquent than what I've just said, but it's very interesting to read. And finally, I reported on this a couple of months ago, and I thought it was just bonkers. It's everything that's wrong with the world at the moment. And this is an update on it. This is the World AI Creator Awards and Miss AI 2024. The call out was, create the beautiful person that's going to win this beauty pageant only generated by AI. Some of the stipulations on it's going to be on the visual, on the technical, and how many followers you manage to gather, and therefore you submit that as part of your entry. So in first place we have Kenza Layi, who is from quote unquote Morocco, obviously doesn't exist at all, and then we got Lalina and Olivia C. So as I say, technically these are really interesting. Go and have a look at what they've generated. You can kind of see, you know, turning up on red carpets, and oh, by the way, I'm also recycling plastic and things like that. So they can generate whatever they want, but the whole point of this is just horrific. This is not what you should be doing with AI, and it's just, you know, sexist gender stereotypes, go. This needs to burn and die with fire, but just thought I'd do you a quick update. If you're interested, there you go. Hopefully that was interesting. Hopefully it was useful. If it was, give it a like, and I will see you next week.